Hey, welcome to A1R Radio, Insights into Consciousness, my show. Anna Olsen, I'm your host for this segment. I am going to do a reading today and kind of dissect it and explain what happened during the reading and why, and how I came to different conclusions. So first I want to just explain when I do a reading, and I know that this is basically the same for most people, but I'm just going to speak for myself that when I do a reading, that I use pictures and signs to get messages from spirit, because spirit is not the same as our five senses that we have, the five senses: sight, smell, taste, etc. So this kind of a sight needs, this kind of a sense rather needs to be something that's almost like moving in form. Kind of, if you think of water and how that kind of flows, that's kind of how messages from spirit work. They kind of come in and out, they change. They're kind of like this intuitive, telepathic condition where you're really reading feelings, images, and it's an energy that's exchanging information from one source to another. So sometimes it even feels like a download, when you download something onto your computer, you upload something on the internet or whatever. It's kind of like that, but it's more into your psyche, your mind, and you kind of remember it, or you just take that information and you retain it or express it. And that's the only way that I can really explain it, other than having to just experience it. And some people, they've done a lot of studies on different people and how their brains work, and that some people, when they close their eyes or they stop and imagine, they really do not see images in their mind's eye. So everyone is different. Somebody like me will be able to see something in my mind's eye. I could, it's kind of like if you're imagining or daydreaming something and you kind of see it in your mind. And when they say you see it in your mind, that's basically what you're doing. And some people really don't have that capability, and that's okay. They would maybe get messages from spirit in a different way, or perhaps they would need to explore some way that they've been blessed with a gift or talent in how they feel things. Usually those people are more visceral, meaning they feel things more with their bodies. And they will get the gut reactions. They may get symptoms of things like if somebody was, spirit was telling them, this person died in a car accident, they may feel, pressure on their chest if it was through, a car accident where they hit their chest. Or like let's say they had a head injury, they may feel it in their head. If the person at some point went blind, they may even get field of vision issues while they're doing the reading. So that's kind of how we're all different, and we all have different modes of operation. It's the same as any other gift or talent in a person. Human beings are all different. We all do things differently, and we are all born in, different ways. So I'm going to do a reading now. It's Linda in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
So how's your day going so far?
Oh, it's only morning here. I haven't been up long.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, what can we do today? What would you like to focus on, or do you have a specific question?
Okay. Anything to do with a move for me? House move or job or relationship, any sort of change?
Okay, so job, relationship, any change that might be coming up?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's look at that. The first thing that I'm getting is a pause and a begin again. So this is kind of like the Hanged Man, or when the old chapter is ending and a new chapter is beginning. This is not uncommon during this pandemic and how things are changing. So does this make sense to you, where maybe some things are kind of coming to an end or a close?
I think so. I feel like it is, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask Spirit what specifically you would be having change in. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm tuning into your energy, and the first thing that I'm getting for you is health. So I actually got a card that represents, again, the ending of an old chapter and the beginning of a new chapter. So this could even mean the end of a job or the end of a relationship and the beginning of a new job or relationship.
Yep.
Okay. So I've got two cards now that indicate, the end of an old chapter, beginning of a new. So let me pull something else here. So have you, I'm just wondering if there's been an issue with health, because that's kind of coming up. Is that something that you have dealt with?
No.
Okay. Because I get that there's something in your environment or maybe family or something, and there may have been an issue with health where, you've had to deal with that in addition to everything else, or it could be the main topic. So we can just file that away for a little bit and come back to that later.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is pointing more towards relationships. So I feel like this is, when I was getting the strong information from spirit health, I think that it's more of an indication of a health of a relationship.
Yeah.
So the way that it's showing up to me is that there has been a long relationship that has come to a place where you guys are more or less needing to reintegrate some new things in the relationship to make it work better, or it's just changing, or it's kind of that needing to close up those old chapters you guys weren't dealing with and beginning either healing or figuring out if you really still want to be in the relationship.
I'm not in one.
What was that?
I'm not in a relationship.
Okay. So this must be something with family, or it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be mom, sister, brother, child.
Okay.
And that's okay. Sometimes this is something to come. Sometimes this is something where it needs to be evaluated, and you'll see what it is later on. And that's okay. It sometimes is just like a message, because you did want to see if there were changes in the future, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
then that makes sense. I just check with you to see if it's already going on first, so that I'm not just talking about the future and this is happening now. So, I do feel like this may be a relationship with either a child or a younger person, and it could have to do with either being careful of health or health. We are in a pandemic, and that's something that we have to think about, unfortunately, is just like, are we staying healthy? Are we, what should we do? How, do you want to wear a mask? Do you want to stay away from people? What are your health issues? And it's all something to take into account. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this seems like something that will affect a relationship for you. And it's probably just the pandemic, because that's what we're in now. It feels like that to me, but I definitely see kind of like this health thing being an issue. Probably, the way it feels to me is like you're guarding yourself against getting COVID. So basically kind of keeping yourself safe from that, or maybe a child. Do you have younger children or adult children, or do you?
I have adult children, yeah.
What was that?
I have 3 adult children.
Okay, so that's probably where that's coming from. Do you have, if they're adults, do you have any grandchildren?
1, yeah.
Okay. I'm just seeing that there's something limiting your contact with the children or family members, and that it's taking precious time away from, where you usually would be probably having more contact, is what it feels like. And I think that the change that will come from that I'm seeing for you is there's something with the job where it just feels mundane. It feels very slow. It feels very like it's not where your passion lies anymore. I'm the way that it feels to me is that the children, grandchild, it's like they're going to become like the main priority. And I'm not sure if you're, are you thinking about retirement or?
I'm not really sure what to do. But yeah, maybe. I don't know whether there's one more job in me or not, or whether I'm going to move.
Okay, because it feels to me like this is going to really help you to re-engage your priorities, like where you really want to put your time and your energy. Is it worth it? It feels to me like the job may be something that you want to kind of either renegotiate or look at, just spending more time with family, because I think for a lot of people, this has felt like it's kind of a loss of time with people they love. It's like, it helps people to kind of reprioritize things. And that's really how I feel about your relationships that are coming up. Now, were you specifically wanting to know about a romantic relationship possibility?
Yep.
Okay. Let me ask Spirit about that. Yeah. Okay. So the main thing I'm getting for that is when your time is a little more freed up. Are you very busy? Right now, are you kind of like more busy with your days, like not a lot of time for relationship or? So I think we lost our connection and we're going to try to get that back. But mainly I wanted to talk about the reading and what I was getting. So first I got, oh, are you there, Linda?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I lost contact with you for a little bit.
I'm here.
So basically I'm wondering if you're very busy in your daily schedule, like you don't really have a lot of extra time to devote to a relationship.
I've got plenty of time.
Okay, because I feel like your schedule and maybe the things that you're doing on the daily would have to change in some way before you could really put the time and energy that you'd really want into a romantic relationship right now. But I do feel like the possibility has really freed up with what might be changing for you for work. So I see a difference in work, whether that be retirement plans or another job position with less hours or less responsibility. And then I'm definitely seeing that the possibility of love will definitely come to you. I feel like it's definitely meant to be. It's supposed to come. It's like natural on your journey, on your pathway.
Yeah.
And that you've just made. What was that?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so it just seems like you made your children your priority. That's been your main priority is your children and your, family. And so Spirit is saying you have done such a great job prioritizing the most important things first that you are now going to get the return. So it looks to me and feels to me similar to an investment. Like if you were to have an investment account and you've been saving and investing money for years, and then finally you get to take the money out tax-free, something like that. It's your investment that you put into the right things at the right time. And I feel like you've prioritized things. You weren't, like a partier, you weren't out drinking or anything like that. You were like really putting the focus on your children and what needed to happen. Yeah. And so now you have this great investment. It's going to yield you a fantastic return. Good relationship with your children, your grandchildren. I see 2 more grandbabies coming for you in the future, at least. I think the 2 are going to be like pretty soon. Those are going to be the 2 that are coming soon. Spirit's not showing me beyond the 2 more grandbabies. And I definitely see you having a really wonderful family, just a really great family unit with a new relationship in your life where you have the grandbabies, your children, and the romantic relationship. Like he would be able to come with you places. He would be happy to visit your family. He would be a great part of that.
Oh, and do you see a move for me, like a move from my house I'm in now?
Moving?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you're going to stay there for a little while. You're going to figure out that it's going to work where you are right now.
Oh, okay.
And that it will work well. Yeah, that later, like down the road, you're going to stay there, but you'll have the opportunity when you start your relationship to move with him or in with him. It would be either way.
Okay.
Because is it the location that you're concerned about with moving, like with your family and everything?
I'm considering moving. My two daughters are moving into like an interstate, like about 3,000 k's away, and my grandson's up there. So I was thinking of moving up there too.
Yeah, I feel like that's a possibility, and I feel like you'll be able to make those plans later. But right now, it would be a little too tricky in a lot of ways. Just in the immediate future, it would be later on down the road. I feel like the pandemic has a lot to do with it, but that'll come in time.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much for calling in. It was great getting to talk to you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, okay. So I want to kind of dissect real quick. I just have a little bit of time left to just dissect like what happened. I got some allergies, so I'm like scratching my nose. But I wanted to just kind of go over what I saw here. Now, because we've been in a Mercury in retrograde, and I know we're kind of coming out of that now and everything, but I like to work with the shadow side a little bit. The shadow side is kind of that stuff that people don't really like to look at. They avoid it. It's like how we have many funeral homes who, basically they're hidden because they want to hide death away from the public. Okay. And nonetheless, death is part of life. And sometimes we need to look at that shadow side, that dark side of the moon, that other side of the planet where, the sun's over here and, the shadow's over here. The shadow is part of the light and what makes the light possible. And we as human beings are definitely part of that same logistic. Okay. So when we're talking about light casting a shadow, we are a shadow as well as our light. So our higher self, our divine, is connected to light, and that is necessary. But we also have bodies, and we have a subconscious mind, and we have things we don't acknowledge half the time that kind of leave us on autopilot throughout the day. And it's really good to dig in there, especially during Mercury in retrograde. So I have this deck of cards that my husband bought me actually as a gift, is actually the Halloween Oracle, and it's a really great deck for shadow work or shadow readings, because it kind of digs a little deep. It kind of gets you a little uncomfortable so that you can look at things. So the first uncomfortable thing I saw for her, this is actually Stacey DeMarco's Halloween Oracle. The first thing that I saw for her was the Underworld. Now that's very shadow. So there's a skull, and the pomegranate is resembling a lot of things. But for me, it's like, it's red. It almost looks like blood. It almost looks like, death with the skull and everything, but it's not real blood. It's just a little scary. And it just, it's almost like Halloween, fake skulls and fake blood. And, it's just kind of give you a little scare. So that's the first thing that I got for her was for Linda in Australia, is that this is this pandemic, with the risk of possibly getting, the virus and all of that. For her, I felt like, there's definitely a health thing coming up. And then I looked again, and it's, I got the death card for her. So we have a skeleton with a moth. And when we talk about a moth, we're talking about rejuvenation. We're talking about being in the chrysalis, huge changes in somebody's life. So then I mixed in the kind of like fear of getting sick with, new chapters. It kind of has been opening people's eyes, making them think like, if I were to pass away, what would I leave as a legacy? If I were to get sick, how would my family fare? Am I really prioritizing things the right way? People are stopping to think about, are they partying too much? Are they drinking too much? Are they focusing on the wrong things? What do they want to make their lives about? And then they're really taking some action to reframe that and then reorganize it in a positive way. So then, interestingly enough, here we have strength. Now there's a skeleton again. So we have, there's a lot of death in her reading. And the way that I'm seeing that is the old chapters closing. When we talk about death closing, you're going into the new life. The old way of life is closing, and it's not like super scary, like, oh, you're all going to die or anything like that. That's something that you really need to understand about tarot. It can mean that, but it does not mean that in this reading. And when it does mean that, we dissect it and figure it out. So then I saw, now this is really interesting, relation came up. So I got this eternal love card, and see how we look at the shadow side, and that can even be kind of romanticized. It can kind of be like this couple, there's two skeletons on the card. They're holding hands kind of in a grave in the earth, and it's called eternal love. There's a heart in the ground between them with their hands being, held together. And it's talking about not just romantic relationships, but the eternal bonds we have with our children, with our, with grandchildren, with our significant other, with our whoever, our families, neighbors, doesn't matter, friends. And that it's really important to prioritize. So that's what I saw for her, that this COVID thing is going to change her priorities. It's going to change her thinking, so that she's like, oh, what if we don't have as much time as we thought left? What if I'm going to end up, having less time here than I thought? What kind of legacy am I leaving in that case? What does that mean for my family, children, grandchildren? And then we have the trick or treat card. This is a Halloween deck. Remember, I see that there was two children in costumes. One has the ghost sheet over their face, and then the other one has a wolf mask on. And basically that's just saying, like, to me, for the reading, children. So I saw her grandbaby and her children, they're kind of like worried they're going to get mom sick. That's kind of creating a barrier, a boundary. They still want to get her love and attention. You think about trick-or-treating. You think about these, them needing, their wanting their cups filled, basically, but wanting to be, cautious and not get sick and not make mom sick. And there's this back and forth there. So I think people, because they don't have something for a while, they may end up actually coming back and being even more grateful for their family members, their loved ones, for having them in their lives when they come back. When this whole thing kind of resolves, they come back and they tend to appreciate people even more and not take them for granted, not that they were before, but just to be more like, oh man, I could have lost my mom. I could have, there's all these things that go through people's heads. And that's really what I'm seeing there. Now with her question about relationships, I saw this ancestors card. Really, though, to me, we could just block out ancestors. There's a tree in there with the DNA symbol on the front of the tree. And really what I saw for her with that would be a path. And that was the path that she's going to have this relationship that will come. And she will have this really great connection with this man. And then I just started seeing all these things in my mind's eye. She's going to have the two grandbabies coming into her life. She's going to have the relationship. The man is there with her. I saw the family tree when I looked at this. I saw family tree, and that they're going to all be together. She's going to have this wonderful new relationship. She invested in all the right places, and it's going to just yield an amazing return. So when we talk about her location and where she was living, I saw this. And I mean, it's a little scary. It's a ghost woman who's kind of looking a little scary in the middle of a room, maybe in a Victorian mansion or something like that. It's really kind of beautiful and sort of spooky. Again, this is Shadow Side Halloween deck. So I saw her planted. You think about the ghost, it's staying in the house. It's just Spirit's way of telling me she's going to stay where she is for a while. And that's going to be the most financially sound place for her to be for a while, but that she could move later. So then I saw, her moving on later on. So she could go into this new area with her children, with this new man that she meets. She wants to kind of wait for him there, though, for a little bit and really get her, nest egg, in a place where she can kind of draw from it. So that's how these readings go. I just get signal after signal after signal. And what I also have practiced quite a bit with the readings in the past to make sure that, what I'm saying is accurate and the messages that I'm getting are actually they hold merit, is I would check back with people, or people would check back with me in the future, or they would just randomly come up and be like, "Oh my gosh, you said that I was going to meet somebody from another country and become, engaged to them," and things like that. So I base my readings on results. If I get a message and I really trust it, usually I check in with my guides the whole time. And to me, my angels, my guides, they feel like they're right next to me when I do readings. So I know it is a good energy. I know that it's positive. I know that I'm drawing out what's in this person's best interest and what their guides need them to know, and what my guides want me to know at the time, and what I'm learning from it. So it just kind of goes back and forth. And it's really good information for people to have, because it helps them to feel better. It helps them to kind of trust their intuition a little more, because they're kind of getting hits on what they were getting from spirit in their intuition. And it helps them to have hope. Because when we don't know what's going to happen, and we're not sure, and we're uncertain, it creates anxiety. And that's really what I think readings can help people with. It can also give them a glimpse into the future. If they take that path or that path, what would be the difference? Free agency and free choice is always an option, and people can always do whatever they want. So I think it's just giving people more of an informed choice before they make a decision. So thank you so much for watching. I am going to close out now, but you can always reach me at AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com. You can go into my contact page, and please avoid the chat, because I don't really answer that. But you can always contact me. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time on A1R Radio Network. Anna Olsen, Insights into Consciousness. Have a wonderful week.